unit, Mr. Kwan, and then to the very left is the Mr. Fang from the operations unit. To the very right-hand side is the Mr. Gu from Hong Kong Island's police station. They shall make speech first, and then is the Q&A session. If you want to make any questions, please raise your hand and wait for the microphone and introduce yourself. Maximum question allowed are 3. So now, Mr. Xie, start from you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This weekend in Hong Kong Island and Kowloon, there were processions and demonstrations. Most of the protesters were peaceful and rational. A small amount of clashes happened, and some protesters tried to assault police, and the police made responses accordingly. I believe most of the residents agree that the unpeaceful demonstrations were not good for social order. Social order should be brought back to the right track. If protesters do not use extreme measures and violence to assault police, police would never exercise force. And we absolutely respect the freedom of expressing the rights and demands, and we call upon your rational and peaceful attitudes and do not affect other residents' ordinary lives. Now let us brief you about what happened during the last weekend in Causeway Bay in Weiyun. In Saturday afternoon, we've seen processions from Hennessy Street to Admiral, and then in Gosa, there were some barricades. In Admiral and Tin Hau, the traffic was blocked and paralyzed, but the procession was peaceful, so police did not intervene. The processions and demonstrations completed in a peaceful way. And last night around 8:15 in Admiral Police Station, protesters encircled a male, blaming him for taking photos of other protesters, so they blocked his way. Some protesters used slingshot to hurl hard objects at the police station, and they also shot laser guns at police officers. And in Admiral, protesters had a clash with a male, and nobody sustained injury. So in general, in contrast with the past 2 months of demonstration and procession, yesterday was peaceful. The majority of the protesters were being rational and lawful. In Saturday, there was a unlawful assembly because the protesters were not following the non-object letter, and they processed in the unsanctioned roads. And they even went to Yau Ma Tei, and they used laser guns to shoot at police. They hurl eggs and hard objects at police. And they also blockaded the road with road barricades. The police issued several warnings at the protesters in Mongko, so police had no option but to disperse the demonstration at 7. At around 7:30 in the evening, when the police cordon line came to the walk path, the bridge, some protesters hurled a rubbish bin to the ground from the walking bridge.
As you can see, some protesters hurl rubbish bin from the walking overbridge to the ground. They were targeting at the police car, and this rubbish bin hit the police car first and then to the ground. A large amount of residents and police officers were there. So imagine if the rubbish bin hit residents, great damage could be done. So such acts were the ignorance of other people's safety. So the police at the venue had no option but to shoot one beanbag round from the over bridge. And after the prevention of the violent acts, police stopped exercising the force, so we could see the police was being restrained and rational. Our acts were lawful and rational. The prerequisite is that the protesters exercise violence. Then the police will make force enforcement. In order to provide important information about demonstration before the Sunday demonstration, the police sent out text messages noticing residents to be informed. Because the amount was huge, so there might be some delay in receiving our text message. We're cooperating with the text message operators so that efficiency could be improved. We appreciate their cooperation with us. And we want to remind you that do not only rely on text message to receive police information, because text message is just one channel. As usual, we are leveraging different platforms, such as the social platform Facebook, Twitter, and our news updates. On the internet, some said the police use cell phone message to identify residents' geographical location. I would like to explain that we are not doing such things. It's also impossible to follow anyone's geographical location with the sending of this message, and the receiving of such messages are free as well, whether you're inside Hong Kong or outside of Hong Kong. From Friday to Sunday, the police did not arrest anybody. About the courts, one suspect who conducted assaulting journalist, Chinese mainland journalist, he was 19 years old. He was charged with assaulting, and this morning, the case was already submitted to the Eastern District Court. In the past weekend, no colleague sustained serious injury. The Tsim Sha Tsui police station, one police officer was hit by a petrol bomb, and he is discharged from the hospital, and he still needs some time to get restoration fully. On Friday, August 16th, we did not fire any bullets. 17th of August, Saturday, we only fire one bean round. 18th of August, Sunday, we did not fire any bullets or use any grenades. Taking this opportunity, the police would like to make several clarifications. Yesterday, somebody alleged that the disguised police came back to work in the police headquarters. Last night, clad in dark shirts, several people came into police headquarters. After investigation, we could clarify that that was the shift turning time. Those who were in dark shirts, and they actually came back to work to take their shift because the peripheral traffic was so busy, so they had to get off at a nearby place and then walk to police station. So that was a rumor. And on the internet, some said the children of police officers were kidnapped, and that was a rumor as well. So please do not believe in such rumors on the internet. And on the internet, there's another rumor saying that the police, during their ransack, found more than 100,000 cash, and that was a rumor as well. One last clarification to make. Somebody used social media platforms to appeal for donation so that police could buy more laser prevention goggles. We want to clarify that we have not done such appeal for donation whatsoever. And we've taken notice that on the internet, somebody organized that on August 24th, different clashes and demonstrations would be organized in International Airport of Hong Kong. The police have already taken notice. If anybody who has the intention to disturb the function of the internet and obstruct any passengers shall be charged. And we are closely working with the International Airport of Hong Kong to ensure the function of the airport. I would like to reiterate the law. According to the Civil Aviation Law of Hong Kong, Article 498, anybody leverage weapons or take any measures to make violent acts in the airport causing casualty or severe personal damage or badly affect personal safeties, and he might charge with lifetime in sentence, lifetime imprisonment. Let me make a summary. For many years, the police has been trying our best to facilitate peaceful demonstration. The very important responsibility of ours is to safeguard the society in order. Violence is never the solution. If the protesters don't use violence, the police will absolutely restrain from using force. So we hope that residents could stop using the violence. We want to bring back our order. So please stop and think about how to bring the society back to order.
Committed breach of the peace, a vast majority of them are genuinely peaceful and rational. We believe most members of the public would agree with non-violent means of protest and peaceful expression of speech. The public would like to see Hong Kong society get back on track. Now I'll give an overview of what happened over the weekends and share some key messages. Last Sunday, a large public meeting was held in Victoria Park, Causeway Bay, but soon after it started, a large group of protesters went on to occupy main roads like Causeway Bay Road and Hennessy Road. Later, they marched to Admiralty, paralyzing traffic in Western District, Central, Admiralty, Wan Chai, Causeway Bay, and Tin Hau. However, we acknowledge the protesters were genuinely peaceful, so the police did not intervene. In the evening, there's occasional breach of the peace. At around 8:30 p.m., a large group of protesters surround a male, suspecting that he had taken photos of their faces. Later, certain protesters threw hard objects into central government complex with slingshots and aimed laser beams at police officers. Then at around 11 p.m., singular violent clashes broke out on Harcourt Road, Admiralty, causing injuries. Despite the singular incidents, compared with the violent protests in recent 2 months, the one yesterday was generally rational and orderly. Over in Hong Kong last Saturday, a public procession went on with the police letter of no objection. However, a large group of participants deviate from the approved route of procession. They occupy multiple main roads, sprayed paint onto buildings nearby, and threw eggs and objects. Some even set barricades in the middle of roads, paralyzing traffic. The police gave repeated warnings to the protesters gathering in Mong Kok, but they fell on deaf ears. We have no choice but to use appropriate means to disperse the crowds. At around 7 p.m., some protesters gathering on the Fruit Beach threw a rubber bin onto a public police vehicle underneath. These caused multiple dents and damages to the vehicles. At that time, the road traffic was very busy with cars, road users, and even journalists packing the road. Such action posed a serious threat to the safety of everyone on site. In response to the violence, the officers fired a shot of beanbags round to the protester on the bridge. Then the situation came under control, so our use of force ceased. We managed to restore order at around 8 p.m. on that night. Now I would like to give you more information on our new measure. In Sunday afternoon, the police sent a mass SMS to all members of the public to give them a heads up about an upcoming public order event on the island. Giving a large number of mobile users, the time it takes to deliver the message varied. But citizens may also get the latest information from our social media like Facebook or Twitter, as well as government announcements. We would like to express our gratitude to the mobile network operators and communications authority and for their assistance in disseminating information to the public. I must emphasize the police do not collect any personal data and are not able to track the location of mobile users with this new measure. No matter where you receive the SMS, in Hong Kong or overseas, there's no charge at all. Now I'll move on to the arrest figures. The police did not make any arrests over the past weekend. As the figures on the injured officer during the whole operation, a total of 178 police officers sustained different kinds of injuries on duty. Last weekend, one officer had suddenly heartache and felt numbness on his hands. It could have been an heart attack. He is at fair condition in the hospital. As for the officer who got hit by a petrol bomb, suffering second-degree burns in Tsim Sha Tsui police station, he has been discharged from the hospital and is still on sick leave. We are also aware that some netizens promoted another protest at the airport, again on 24th of August, to paralyze air traffic. According to the Chapter 494 Aviation Security Ordinance of the Hong Kong law, if any person commits any acts of violence willfully in an aerodrome serving international civil aviation, which cause or is likely to cause death or serious personal injury, and endanger or is likely to endanger the safe of operation of the aerodrome, is liable on conviction on indictment to life imprisonment. We would like to appeal to all protesters to spare some thoughts for others and respect other rights and freedoms. They should not disturb the everyday life of ordinary citizens and visitors. In conclusion, once again, our message is very clear. If protesters don't use violence, the police will not use force. The protest that took place on Sunday shows if protesters are peaceful, rational, and orderly, the police will not and have no reason to intervene. Violence only begets violence is never a solution. The police appeal to members of the public to reject all forms of violence and revert to peaceful and orderly expression of speech. Thank you.
好，問題時間。